Captain Jake Morrison walked slowly across the bridge of the USS Horizon. His boots made soft sounds on the metal floor as he looked out at the stars through the main window. The bridge was quiet except for the soft hum of computers and the breathing of his crew. Today was the day humanity would prove itself to the galaxy. The horizon was beautiful and deadly. The ship stretched nearly 2 miles long and had thick armor plating that gleamed under the lights of Luna Station. Its engines could push it faster than light itself. For the first time in human history, Earth had built a real warship that could travel between the stars. Jake stopped at his command chair and placed his hand on the smooth surface. He was 42 years old and had spent his entire career dreaming of this moment. His dark hair was starting to show gray at the sides, but his blue eyes were sharp and focused. He wore the new deep blue uniform of Earth's Space Defense Force, with 4 gold stripes on his sleeves showing his rank. "Captain, all systems are ready for departure," said Lisa Carter from her station. She was the chief engineer and one of the smartest people Jake had ever met. Lisa had short red hair and wore glasses that made her green eyes look bigger. She had worked on the Horizon's engines for 3 years and knew every bolt and wire in the ship. "Thank you, Lisa," Jake replied. He looked around at his crew. These men and women were the best Earth had to offer. They came from different countries and backgrounds, but they all shared the same dream. They wanted to show the galaxy that humans belonged among the stars. At the weapons station sat Ryan Brooks, a tall man with broad shoulders and steady hands. Ryan had been a fighter pilot before joining the Horizon crew. His job was to make sure the ship's guns and missiles worked perfectly when they needed them. He was calm and never got excited. Even when things went wrong, Amy Rodriguez sat at the communications station, her fingers dancing over the controls as she monitored signals from across the solar system. She was small and quick, with long black hair that she kept in a neat ponytail. Amy could speak 6 languages and had learned to understand alien communication patterns. She would be their voice to the galaxy. The bridge doors opened and Commander Steve Parker walked in. He was Jake's second in command and his best friend. Steve was shorter than Jake, but had the same serious look in his eyes. He had been with Jake through training and knew how important this mission was. "The crew is ready, Captain," Steve said, as he took his place beside Jake's chair. 400 of Earth's finest, all waiting for your orders." Jake nodded and pressed a button on his chair. His voice echoed through every part of the ship. "Attention, crew of the USS Horizon. This is Captain Morrison. Today we begin a journey that will change human history forever. For too long, the aliens have looked down on us. They call us primitive. They say we are too violent and too stupid to join their galactic community. Today we prove them wrong." The crew listened carefully to their captain's words. In the engine room, Kevin Walsh checked his instruments one more time. Kevin was a genius who had designed many of the ship's systems. He was young, only 28, but his ideas had made the Horizon possible. His hands moved quickly over the controls as he prepared the engines for their first jump to faster-than-light speed. In the medical bay, Dr. Rachel Green organized her supplies and checked her equipment. She was a kind woman with gentle hands and a warm smile. Rachel had volunteered for this mission because she wanted to help people, whether they were human or alien. She hoped they would not need her skills for treating battle wounds, but she was ready if they did. "The Confederation of Worlds has given us observer status," Jake continued over the ship's communication system. "They think we need babysitters. They think we will fail and crawl back to Earth with our tails between our legs, but we know better. We know that humans have something special. We adapt, we survive. We protect those who cannot protect themselves." The Alien Confederation had been a shock to humanity. First contact happened 15 years ago when alien ships appeared over major cities around the world. The aliens were not hostile, but they were not friendly either. They treated humans like children who had just learned to walk. The Confederation had thousands of member species, but they all agreed on one thing: humans were too primitive to matter. The aliens had better technology, longer lifespans, and more advanced societies. Some could fly without ships. Others could live in the vacuum of space. A few could even read minds. Compared to them, humans seemed weak and limited. But the aliens had missed something important about humanity. They had missed the fire that burned in human hearts. "Lisa, are the engines ready?" Jake asked. "All systems green, Captain. The jump drive is charged and ready. Ryan, weapon status?" "All weapon systems online and ready, sir. We have full missile loads and the main guns are powered up." "Amy, any messages from Earth or the Confederation?" "Earth Control wishes us good luck, Captain. The Confederation has sent us our patrol routes and reminds us to follow all safety protocols." Jake smiled. The aliens still thought this was just a training exercise. They expected the humans to fly around empty space for a few months, then return to Earth with stories of how big and scary the galaxy was. They had no idea what humans were really capable of. "All stations, prepare for departure," Jake ordered. "Steve, take us out of dock." The Horizon's engines came to life with a deep rumble that could be felt through the entire ship. Slowly, the massive warship moved away from Luna Station. The crew watched through windows as Earth grew smaller behind them. It was a beautiful blue and white marble floating in the darkness of space. "Course set for the outer rim, Captain," reported the navigation officer. "We should reach our patrol sector in 6 hours. Take us to light speed," Jake commanded. The stars stretched into lines of light as the Horizon jumped to faster-than-light travel. Humanity's first Starcruiser was now racing through the galaxy, carrying the hopes and dreams of an entire species. The crew did not know what dangers waited for them in the darkness between stars, but they were ready to face whatever came their way. The galaxy was about to learn what it meant to underestimate humanity. 3 weeks had passed since the USS Horizon left Earth's solar system. The crew had settled into their daily routines as they patrolled the outer rim of Confederation space. Captain Jake Morrison stood in his ready room looking at star charts. On his computer screen, the patrol routes the aliens had given them were boring and safe. Far from any real action or danger, Amy Rodriguez's voice came through the communication system. "Captain, we are receiving a distress signal. It's coming from the Kepler 442 system, about 2 light-years from our current position." Jake walked quickly to the bridge. The crew turned to look at him as he entered. "What do we have, Amy?" Amy's fingers moved over her controls as she brought up the signal on the main screen. "It's a Zentari merchant vessel, Captain. They're under attack by what appears to be a pirate fleet. The signal is weak, but I can make out at least 4 attacking ships." The bridge became quiet as everyone listened to the crackling distress call. The Zentari voice was high and musical, but fear made it shake. Even through the translation software, they could hear the panic. "This is merchant vessel Golden Wind calling for help. We are under attack by pirates. Our engines are damaged and we cannot escape. Please, anyone who can hear this, we have families aboard. We need immediate assistance." Steve Parker moved to stand beside Jake's chair. "Captain, the nearest Confederation. Patrol is 8 hours away. By the time they get there, it will be too late." Jake looked at his crew. Ryan Brooks sat ready at his weapons station, his hands steady on the controls. Lisa Carter monitored the engine systems, ready to push the ship to maximum speed. Dr. Rachel Green had already started preparing her medical bay for possible casualties. "Amy, can you get me a direct line to that merchant ship?" Jake asked. "Working. On it, Captain. The signal is weak, but—" "Got it, you're connected." Jake pressed the communication button. "Zentari vessel Golden Wind, this is Captain Morrison of the Earthship USS Horizon. We have received your distress call and are coming to help." "Hold on." There was a long pause before the Zentari captain answered. His voice was filled with surprise. "Earthship? But humans are not supposed to be this far from your home system. Are you sure you can help us? The pirates have advanced weapons and shields." Jake felt his jaw tighten. Even in their moment of need, the aliens doubted human abilities. "We're sure. Just stay alive until we get there." Morrison out. He turned to his crew. "Lisa, give me maximum speed. Ryan, prepare all weapon systems. Steve, you're with me. We need to plan our approach." "Yes, sir," Lisa replied, her hands flying over her controls. Jump drive charging. We'll be there in 20 minutes. The Horizon dropped out of light speed at the edge of the Kepler 442 system. The main screen showed a terrible sight. The Centauri merchant ship was a beautiful vessel with golden hulls and elegant curves, but now it was damaged and leaking atmosphere. 4 pirate ships circled it like sharks, their dark hulls covered in spikes and weapons. Pirates are using Corvin designs, Ryan reported. Heavy armor, plasma cannons, and energy shields. They outgun us 2-1, Jake studied the tactical display. The pirates were confident, taking their time to strip the merchant ship of its cargo. They had no idea that a human warship had just arrived. Amy, open a channel to the pirates, Jake ordered. Channel open, Captain. Pirate vessels, this is Captain Morrison of the USS Horizon. You are attacking an innocent merchant ship. Stand down and leave immediately, or we will be forced to take. Action. Laughter came through the speakers. The pirate leader had a rough, growling voice. Human ship? Is this some kind of joke? Go home, little humans, before you get hurt. This is not your concern. We're making it our concern, Jake replied. You have 10 seconds to withdraw. More laughter. 10 seconds? We'll give you 10 seconds to run back to your little planet before we turn you into space dust. Do you have any idea who you're dealing with? We are the Crimson Claws, the most feared pirates in this sector. Jake looked at Steve and nodded. Time's up. The pirate leader's voice turned nasty. You asked for it, humans. Don't say we didn't warn you. The 4 pirate ships turned away from the merchant vessel and moved toward the horizon. They spread out in an attack formation, their weapons charging with bright flashes of energy. They're treating us like we're no threat at all, Steve observed. Look at their formation. They're not even trying to protect their flanks. Jake smiled. Grimly, their mistake. Ryan, target the lead ship's engines. Amy, get me a line to the merchant vessel. Ready to fire, Captain, Ryan reported. Connected to the Centauri ship, Amy confirmed. Jake spoke into his microphone. Golden Wind, this is the Horizon. We need you to move to coordinates 347 Mark 82 and stay low. We're going to get between you and the pirates. The Centauri captain's voice was worried. Captain Morrison, there are 4 of them and only 1 of you. Their ships are bigger and have better weapons. You should wait for Confederation backup. Trust. U.S., Jake said simply. We know what we're doing. The first pirate ship opened fire with bright red plasma beams. The Horizon's shields flared blue as they absorbed the energy. The ship shook slightly, but held steady. Shields at 80%, Lisa reported. These pirates pack a punch. Ryan, return fire, Jake ordered. The Horizon's main guns opened up with streams of blue energy. The human weapons were different from what the pirates expected. Instead of the slow, powerful shots that most alien ships used, the Horizon fired. Rapidly with smaller but more accurate beams, the pirate captain's voice came over the radio, surprised. What kind of weapons are those? They're firing too fast. Ryan's shots hit the lead pirate ship's engines exactly where he aimed. Explosions bloomed along the ship's hull as its propulsion systems failed. The pirate ship began to drift helplessly through space. 1 down, Ryan said calmly. The other 3 pirates began to take the human ship more seriously. They changed their formation and started using coordinated attacks. Plasma bolts and energy missiles filled the space around the Horizon. Shields. At 60%, Lisa called out. They're trying to surround us. Jake studied the tactical display. The pirates were using standard Confederation battle tactics, the same ones taught in their military academies. But Jake and his crew had studied those tactics too, and they had something the pirates didn't expect. Steve, remember the Morrison maneuver from the academy? Jake asked. Steve grinned. The one they said was too crazy to ever work? That's the one. Think it's time to show these pirates what human creativity looks like? Absolutely, Captain. The Horizon suddenly changed direction, diving toward the damaged merchant ship instead of away from it. The pirates followed, thinking the humans were trying to use the Centauri vessel as a shield. Now, Jake shouted. The Horizon spun around the merchant ship, and came up behind the pirates from an angle they never expected. Ryan's guns found their targets before the pirates could react. 2 more pirate ships took heavy damage to their weapon systems. The remaining pirates began to panic. How did they do that? Human ships aren't supposed to be that fast. But Jake wasn't done yet. The real battle was just beginning. The space battle around the Zentari merchant ship had taken a turn that no one expected. The pirates who had been laughing at the human ship just minutes ago were now scrambling to understand what had just happened. 2 of their ships were badly damaged, and the USS Horizon was moving in ways that defied everything they knew about space combat. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge, watching the tactical display with calm eyes. The 3 remaining pirate ships were trying to regroup, but they were confused and scared. They had never fought humans before, and it showed. Ryan, status on the pirates? Jake asked. 2 ships have lost most of their weapons, Captain. The 3rd one is still fully armed, but keeping its distance. They're trying to figure out what we're going to do next. Steve Parker moved closer to Jake's chair. They're following the Corven. Battle manual step by step. Form defensive positions, maximize shield strength, wait for the enemy to make a mistake. Jake smiled. Too bad we never read that manual. Amy, are you picking up their communications? Amy Rodriguez nodded as she listened to her headset. They're talking to each other, Captain. The pirate leader is screaming at his crews. He says, humans aren't supposed to fight like this. He's asking how we move so fast around the merchant ship. Let them wonder, Jake said. Lisa, how are our engines holding up? Lisa Carter checked her instruments from the engineering station. All systems green, Captain. We can keep this up for hours if we need to. The new reactor Kevin designed is working perfectly. In the engine room, Kevin Walsh monitored his creation with pride. The Horizon's power system was completely different from anything the aliens used. While alien ships needed time to recharge between maneuvers, human engineering allowed for constant power flow. Kevin's reactor could change output instantly, giving the ship incredible flexibility in combat. Captain, Ryan called out, the pirates are moving again. They're trying to spread out and attack from 3 different directions. Jake studied the display. The pirates were using a classic pincer movement designed to trap the Horizon between overlapping fields of fire. It was a good strategy when fighting other alien ships, but Jake had a different idea. Nina, are you ready down there? Jake asked over the ship's communication system. In the mining bay, Lieutenant Commander Nina Davis looked up from her work. She was a small woman with short blonde hair and very quick hands. Nina had been working on something special since the battle began, using equipment that was never meant for combat. Ready, Captain? Nina replied. The mining drones are loaded and programmed. This is either going to be brilliant or completely crazy. With humans, those are usually the same thing, Jake said. Deploy when ready. The Horizon's mining bay opened and 6 small drones flew out. These machines were designed to break apart asteroids and collect valuable metals. They had powerful cutting lasers and were built to work in the most dangerous conditions in space. Nina had reprogrammed them with a new mission. The pirates watched the drones with confusion. What are those things? The pirate leader asked over the radio. Are they trying to mine us to death? The drones moved toward the pirate ships, but not in a direct attack. Instead, they spread out and began working on the space around the pirates. The mining lasers started cutting up floating debris from the damaged ships, creating a cloud of metal fragments. I don't understand what they're doing, one of the pirates said. Those aren't weapons. Everything's a weapon if you use it right. Steve said quietly to Jake. The pirates decided to ignore the small drones and focus on the main threat. The 3 ships accelerated toward the Horizon, their plasma cannons charging for a coordinated attack. They were moving fast, trying to end the battle quickly. Now, Nina, Jake ordered. The mining drones suddenly changed direction. Instead of cutting debris, they began pushing the cloud of metal fragments directly into the path of the attacking pirates. The drones worked together, using their magnetic fields to control the movement of thousands of small metal pieces. The lead pirate ship hit the debris cloud at full speed. The tiny metal fragments, moving at incredible velocity, tore through the ship's shields like bullets through paper. The pirate ship's hull was peppered with holes, and its engines began to fail. "Impossible!" the pirate leader shouted. "How did they turn space junk into a weapon?" "Because that's what humans do," Jake said into his microphone. "We adapt, we improvise. We use whatever we have to protect innocent people." The second pirate ship tried to avoid the debris cloud, but the drones were still working. They pushed more fragments into the pirate's path, forcing the ship to slow down and change course. This gave Ryan the perfect opportunity. Firing main guns, Ryan announced. The Horizon's weapons hit the second pirate ship's engines with perfect accuracy. The ship began to spin out of control, its crew screaming as they lost power to their weapons and shields. Only one pirate ship remained fully functional. Its captain was no longer laughing at the humans. His voice was filled with fear and anger. "You think you're so smart, humans? We'll see how smart you are when the rest of the Crimson Claws hear about this. There are 50 more ships in our fleet. And they'll come for you?" Jake's voice was calm and steady. "Then they'll learn the same lesson you did. Surrender now, and we'll let you live." The pirate ship began to retreat, but Jake wasn't finished. "Amy, patch me through to the Zentari merchant ship." "Connected, Captain. Captain Vexstar, this is Captain Morrison." "Are you and your crew safe?" The Zentari captain's voice was filled with amazement. "We are safe, Captain Morrison. I have never seen anything like what you just did. You turned simple mining equipment into a weapon. You moved your ship in ways that should have been impossible. How did you do it?" Jake looked around at his crew. Ryan was already checking the weapon systems for the next fight. Lisa was making sure the engines were ready for anything. Amy was monitoring all frequencies for more threats. Kevin was in the engine room, making small adjustments to improve performance. Nina was recovering her drones and checking them for damage. Dr. Rachel Green was preparing her medical bay, just in case. "We did it by being human," Jake said simply. "We don't follow the rules that everyone else follows. We don't think inside the box. When someone tells us something is impossible, we find a way to make it possible." The Zentari captain was quiet for a long moment. "The Confederation Council said humans were too primitive to understand real warfare. They said your technology was crude and your tactics were childish. What do you think now?" Jake asked. "I think the Confederation Council needs to learn more about humans," Vexstar replied. "You saved our lives today. My family and crew owe you a debt that can never be repaid." "Just spread the word," Jake said. "Tell other ships that humans keep their promises. When we say we'll help, we help. When we say we'll protect innocent people, we protect them." The bridge crew listened to their captain's words with pride. They had won their first real battle, but more importantly, they had shown the galaxy what humanity was truly capable of. "Captain," Amy said, "I'm picking up long-range communications. News of this battle is already spreading through the alien networks. Ships across this sector are talking about what happened here." Jake nodded. "Good, let them talk. Let them wonder what else we can do." The USS Horizon moved away from the battle site, escorting the damaged Zentari merchant ship to safety. Behind them, the defeated pirates drifted in space, their ships broken and their confidence shattered, but Jake knew this was just the beginning. Word of humanity's victory would reach the wrong ears, and soon they would face enemies who wouldn't underestimate them. The real test was still coming. High Counselor Zethkri of the Void Lord sat in his crystal chamber high above the planet Nexus Prime, the capital world of the Confederation of Worlds. His tall, thin body was covered in dark blue scales that reflected the light from 3 different suns. 6 arms moved gracefully as he studied the reports flowing across his desk. Each report told the same impossible story about humans. The chamber was filled with floating screens showing star maps, battle recordings, and communication logs. Zethkri had lived for over 400 years and had seen many species rise and fall. He had watched civilizations discover spaceflight, join the Confederation, and find their place in the galaxy. But he had never seen anything like what the humans had just done. "Impossible," he whispered to himself in the ancient Voidlord language. Primitive species do not adapt this quickly. His aide, a young Voidlord named Kethver, entered the chamber carrying more reports. High Counselor, we have received additional information about the incident in the Kepler 442 system. The Zentari merchant captain has filed a formal report praising the human crew. Zethkri's 6 eyes focused on the new documents. Show me the battle recordings again. The main screen displayed the space battle from multiple angles. Zethkri watched as the human ship moved in ways that defied standard physics. He saw the mining drones being used as weapons, the debris cloud tearing through pirate shields, and the precise targeting that disabled enemy ships without killing the crews. This is not possible, Zethkri said, his voice growing louder. Humans have only had spaceflight for 60 years. They have only known about the Confederation for 15 years. They cannot have developed such advanced tactical thinking in such a short time. Kethver moved closer to his superior. High Counselor, perhaps we underestimated their capabilities. The battle footage shows remarkable innovation and adaptability. Innovation? Zethkri's voice was sharp with anger. This is chaos! Look at how they move their ship. They ignore every rule of space combat. They use mining equipment as weapons. They treat war like some kind of game. The High Counselor stood and walked to the large window that looked out over the city. Nexus Prime was a perfect example of Confederation civilization. The buildings were arranged in precise geometric patterns. The transportation systems moved in orderly lines. Everything had its place and followed the rules that had kept peace in the galaxy for over 1,000 years. The Confederation exists because we follow proper procedures, Zethkri continued. Every species learns the correct way to conduct diplomacy, trade, and warfare. We have protocols for everything. These humans seem to think they can ignore our wisdom and do whatever they want. Kethver pulled up another report on his tablet. High Counselor, there is more. The pirates who survived the battle are spreading stories about human capabilities. Several criminal organizations are requesting information about Earth's military strength. And what are they learning? Zethkri asked. That humans are unpredictable and dangerous. The Crimson Claws have put out warnings to all their ships, too. Avoid contact with human vessels. They are calling humans the crazy ones who turn everything into a weapon. Zethkri turned back to his desk and activated a communication device. Get me the emergency council. We need to discuss this human problem immediately. Within minutes, the chamber filled with holographic images of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. There was Admiral Vexler of the Corvan fleet, his reptilian. Features showing concern. High Priestess Zaranel of the Celestial Order floated in her energy form, her voice like singing crystals. General Rakhtar of the Stone Warriors stood like a mountain of living rock, his red eyes glowing with interest. Fellow counselors, Zethkri began, we have a serious situation. The humans have engaged in their first space battle, and the results are disturbing. Admiral Vexler leaned forward. I have read the reports. These humans fought like no civilized species should fight. They used civilian equipment as weapons. They ignored all accepted rules of combat. This is exactly why we gave them only observer status. But they won, General Rakhtar said in his deep, rumbling voice. They defeated 4 pirate ships with a single vessel. That requires skill, not just luck. High Priestess Zaranel's musical voice filled the chamber. The reports show that they saved innocent lives. The Zentari crew would have died without human intervention. Perhaps we should consider that their methods, while unusual, achieved a moral outcome. Zethkri's scales darkened with anger. Moral outcome? They ignored direct orders from Confederation Command. They were supposed to patrol empty space and report back. Instead, they engaged in combat without authorization. This is exactly the kind of reckless behavior we expected from their species. Admiral Vexler nodded. The humans have always been too aggressive. Their history is filled with wars and conflicts. We gave them observer status to keep them contained, not to let them loose in the galaxy. But what if we were wrong? General, Ruktar asked. What if their aggressive nature is actually an advantage? My people respect strength and courage. These humans showed both. The council members began to argue among themselves. Some wanted to recall the human ship immediately. Others thought they should wait and see what happened next. High Priestess Zaranel suggested giving the humans a chance to prove themselves. Further, during the debate, Kethver received an urgent message. He whispered to Zethkri, who immediately called for silence. Council members, we have new information. Our intelligence network has intercepted communications between various criminal organizations. They are discussing the human victory and what it means for their operations. Zethkri activated a recording device. Criminal voices filled the chamber, speaking in different alien languages about the human ship. The humans are dangerous, said a Coven pirate leader. They don't fight like civilized beings. They use tricks and deception. Our standard battle plans are useless against them. I heard they can turn anything into a weapon, said another voice. Mining equipment, cargo containers, even space debris? How do you prepare for an enemy who fights with everything around them? We need to avoid human space, said a third criminal. Until we understand their capabilities, we should consider them a major threat. The council listened to more recordings. Every criminal organization was talking about humans. Some were afraid. Others were curious. A few were planning to test human strength for themselves. Admo Vexler's expression grew serious. This is what we feared. The humans are disrupting the balance of power. Criminal organizations are changing their behavior because of one battle. Is that necessarily bad? Asked General Ruktar. If criminals are afraid of human ships, maybe innocent merchant vessels will be safer. Zethkri did not like where this conversation was going. The issue is not whether the humans are effective. The issue is that they are unpredictable. We cannot control what we cannot predict. For 1,000 years, the Confederation has maintained peace through order and proper procedures. These humans threaten that order. High Priestess Zaranel spoke. Softly, perhaps order is not the only way to maintain peace. Perhaps sometimes chaos is necessary to protect the innocent. Chaos? Zethkri's voice rose. Chaos is what destroyed the old galaxy before the Confederation was formed. We cannot allow it to return. The Council continued to debate for hours. Meanwhile, far away in space, the USS Horizon continued its patrol. Captain Jake Morrison and his crew had no idea that their actions had caused such concern among the most powerful beings in the galaxy on the bridge of the Horizon. Chief Science Officer Beth Thompson was analyzing the debris from the battle. She was a quiet woman with long brown hair and sharp green eyes. Beth had discovered something interesting in the wreckage of the pirate ships. Captain, she called out, I think you need to see this. Jake walked over to Beth's station. What did you find? The pirates were using stolen Confederation technology. Look at these weapon signatures. These plasma cannons are military grade, not civilian equipment. Someone with access to Confederation weapons has been selling them to criminals. Jake studied the data on Beth's screen. Are you sure about this? Absolutely. I've compared the energy patterns with our database of known Confederation weapons. These pirates had access to technology that should have been impossible for them to obtain. Steve Parker joined them at the science station. That would explain how they were able to attack merchant ships so easily. They had military-grade weapons against civilian vessels. Jake felt a cold feeling in his stomach. If there's corruption in the Confederation, it means our victory today was just the beginning. Someone is going to be very unhappy that we interfered with their business. On Nexus Prime, the council meeting was finally ending. They had reached a decision that would change everything for humanity. The humans will be recalled to Earth immediately, Zethkri announced. We cannot allow them to continue unsupervised operations. They are too dangerous to the established order. But as the council members ended their meeting, none of them knew that the humans had just discovered evidence of corruption within their own government. The galaxy was about to become A much more dangerous place for everyone. Captain Jake Morrison stood in his ready room staring at the message that had just arrived from Confederation Command. The words on the screen made his blood boil. After 3 weeks of successful patrols and saving innocent lives, the aliens wanted to send them home like scolded children. "Return to Earth immediately for evaluation and reassignment," Jake read aloud to Commander Steve Parker. "Your recent actions have exceeded your authorized mission parameters and require review by the Confederation Council." Steve shook his head. In disgust? Mission parameters? "We saved lives, Jake. That Zentari merchant ship would have been destroyed if we hadn't acted." "I know," Jake replied, closing the message. "But the Confederation doesn't want us thinking for ourselves. They want us to follow orders and stay in our place." The door chimed, and Amy Rodriguez entered the ready room. Her face was pale and her hands were shaking slightly. "Captain, you need to hear this. I've been monitoring long-range communications, and I picked up something terrible." Jake and Steve followed Amy to the bridge. The crew looked up as they entered, sensing the tension in the air. Amy sat at her communications station and began playing a recorded message. The voice that came through the speakers was cold and mechanical. It spoke in the trade language that most alien species used for business. Amy's translation software converted it to English. "Attack Fleet Crimson 7. You are authorized to begin operations against the colony world of Haven's Rest. The shipment of weapons will arrive in 6 hours. Eliminate all witnesses and prepare the planet for resource extraction." The bridge became deadly quiet. Every crew member understood what they had just heard. An innocent colony world was about to be attacked, and the attackers had military-grade weapons. "Amy, where is Haven's Rest?" Jake asked. Amy's fingers moved quickly over her controls. "It's a small farming colony in the Delta sector, Captain. Population about 50,000. Mostly families who left overcrowded worlds to start new lives. They have no military defenses." Chief Science Officer Beth Thompson looked up from her station. "Captain, I've been analyzing that weapons shipment data. The energy signatures match what we found in the pirate wreckage. Someone with access to Confederation military technology is supplying these attacks." Jake felt anger building in his chest. 50,000 innocent people were going to die, and the people who were supposed to protect them were either corrupt or didn't care. He looked around at his crew and saw the same anger in their eyes. "Steve, how long would it take us to reach Haven's Rest?" Jake asked. Steve checked the navigation display. "At maximum speed, 4 hours. We could get there before the attack fleet arrives." "Captain," Ryan Brooks said from his weapons station, "Confederation Command has ordered us to return to Earth. If we divert to Haven's Rest, we'll be directly disobeying orders." Jake walked to the center of the bridge and looked at each of his crew members. These men and women had volunteered for this mission to prove that humanity belonged among the stars. Now they faced their first real test of what that meant. "I'm not going to lie to you," Jake said. "If we go to Haven's Rest, we'll be defying the Confederation Council. They'll probably court-martial us when this is over. Some of you have families back on Earth. Some of you have careers to think about. I won't order anyone to throw their life away." Lisa Carter stood up from her engineering station. "Captain, with respect, those families on Haven's Rest have lives too. If we don't help them, who will?" Dr. Rachel Green nodded from her position near the medical bay. "I didn't become a doctor to let innocent people die when I could save them. I don't care what the Confederation thinks." One by one, every crew member on the bridge voiced their agreement. They were all willing to risk their careers and their lives to save strangers they had never met. "Amy, send a message to Confederation Command," Jake ordered. "Tell them we have received their recall order and will comply after completing one final mission. Then open a channel to the entire crew." Jake pressed the communication button that would carry his voice throughout the ship. "Attention all crew members, this is Captain Morrison. We have just learned that an innocent colony world is about to be attacked by pirates using stolen Confederation weapons. Command has ordered us to return to Earth and ignore this threat. I'm asking for volunteers to help me save 50,000 innocent lives." Anyone who wants to be transferred off this ship will be taken to the nearest Confederation station with no questions asked and no mark on their record. Jake waited. The ship was completely quiet except for the hum of the engines. Then Amy's communication board lit up with responses from every department. Engine room reporting, Captain. All personnel volunteer to stay. Medical bay reporting? We're with you, sir. Weapons department ready for action, Captain. Fighter squadron ready to launch, sir. Department after department reported in. Not a single crew member asked to be transferred. Jake felt pride swell in his chest as he realized that 400 humans had just chosen to risk everything for people they didn't know. Thank you, Jake said over the communication system. Lisa, set course for Haven's Rest, maximum speed. Ryan, prepare all weapons. Systems, Amy, try to contact the colony and warn them. The USS Horizon changed course and accelerated toward the Delta sector. In the fighter bay, pilot Tom Bradley was checking his ship's systems. Tom was the best pilot on the ship, a young man with quick reflexes and nerves of steel. He had grown up dreaming of flying between the stars, and now he was about to fly into battle against impossible odds. All fighters ready for launch, Captain, Tom reported over the communication system. We've got 12 ships ready to go. In the engine room, Kevin Walsh was pushing the reactor beyond its normal limits. The ship was moving faster than it had ever moved before, racing against time to reach the colony before the attack began. Engines at 110%, Captain, Kevin reported. We'll be running hot, but we can maintain this speed for 6 hours if we need to. As the Horizon raced through space, Amy was trying to contact Haven's Rest. The colony was too far away for normal communication, but she was boosting the signal with everything the ship had. Haven's Rest colony, this is the Earthship USS Horizon. Please respond. You are in immediate danger. For long minutes, there was only static. Then a weak voice came through the speakers. It was a woman with a tired but kind voice. This is Administrator Sarah Kim at Haven's Rest. Did you say Earthship? We weren't expecting any ships for another month. Administrator Kim, this is Captain Morrison. You need to begin immediate evacuation. Procedures. A pirate fleet is coming to attack your colony. They'll arrive in less than 6 hours. There was a long pause. Captain, we have 50,000 people here. We don't have enough ships to evacuate everyone. Our largest transport can only carry 500 people. Jake's heart sank. Even if they defeated the pirates, they couldn't save everyone. There had to be another way. Administrator Kim, do you have any defensive systems at all? Jake asked. We have some mining equipment and construction vehicles. Nothing military. This is a farming colony, Captain. We came here to grow food and raise our children in peace. Beth Thompson looked up from her science station. Captain, I'm reading the colony's layout. They have extensive underground mining tunnels. If we could get the people into those tunnels, they might survive an orbital bombardment. But they'd still be trapped, Steve pointed out. The pirates could just wait them out. Jake studied the tactical display showing Haven's Rest. The colony was built around a natural crater with farmland spreading out in all directions. It was beautiful and peaceful, exactly the kind of place that attracted families looking for a better life. Amy, tell Administrator Kim to begin moving people into the underground areas immediately. Tell her we're coming to help, but she needs to prepare for the worst. As the Horizon continued its race toward Haven's Rest, Jake knew they were flying into a battle they probably couldn't win. The pirates would have more ships and heavier weapons. But his crew had volunteered to try anyway. Because that's what humans did. They protected those who couldn't protect themselves, no matter the cost. Captain, Amy reported, I'm picking up long-range communications from the attack fleet. They're calling themselves Crimson 7, and they have at least 8 ships. They're talking about making an example of this colony to discourage other worlds from resisting their operations. Jake's jaw tightened. The pirates weren't just after the colony's resources. They wanted to send a message of fear across the galaxy. Then we'll send a message of our own, Jake said grimly. Let's show them what happens when they threaten innocent People while humans are watching. The USS Horizon continued its desperate race toward Haven's Rest, carrying the hopes of 50,000 colonists and the pride of humanity itself. The USS Horizon dropped out of light speed at the edge of the Haven's Rest system. Captain Jake Morrison looked at the main screen and felt his heart skip a beat. 8 pirate ships were already moving toward the peaceful farming colony, their dark hulls bristling with weapons. The ships were bigger and more heavily armed than anything his crew had faced before. "Captain, the pirate fleet has already begun their attack run," Ryan Brooks reported from his weapons station. "They'll reach the colony in 30 minutes, Jake studied the tactical display. The pirates were spread out in a perfect attack formation, designed to hit the colony from multiple directions at once. Their ships were military-grade vessels with heavy armor and powerful shields. Against 8 ships like these, the Horizon's chances were almost zero. "Amy, any response from the colony?" Jake asked. Amy Rodriguez shook her head, her voice tight with worry. "Administrator Kim reports that most of the population has reached the underground tunnels. But Captain, even if they survive the bombing, the pirates will just send ground troops to finish them off." Steve Parker moved to stand beside Jake's command chair. "We're outnumbered 8-1, and their ships are bigger than ours. Even if we fight perfectly, we can't stop them all." Jake looked around the bridge at his crew. These brave men and women had volunteered to fight impossible odds to save strangers. He couldn't let their sacrifice be meaningless. "Then we don't fight them all at once," Jake said. "Amy, open a channel to the entire galaxy, maximum broadcast strength." Amy's fingers flew over her controls. "Channel open, Captain. Every ship and station within 50 light years will hear this." Jake stood up and faced the main screen. When he spoke, his voice was calm but filled with determination. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earthship USS Horizon. We are currently in the Haven's Rest system, where 8 pirate vessels are preparing to attack 50,000 innocent colonists. The Confederation of Worlds has abandoned these people to their fate, but humanity will not abandon them." The bridge. Crew listened as their captain's words echoed across space. On other ships and stations throughout the sector, alien crews stopped their work to listen to the humans' message. "For too long, the galaxy has accepted that might makes right," Jake continued. "That the strong can prey on the weak without consequence. That innocent people must suffer because no one is willing to stand up for them. Today, that ends. Humanity may be new to the stars, but we carry an old truth with us. No one fights alone." When humans are watching, Jake paused and looked at his crew. "Any ship that believes in protecting the innocent is welcome to join us. Together, we can show the galaxy that there is still hope for those who cannot defend themselves." The communication ended, and the bridge was quiet for a moment. Then Amy's station began lighting up with incoming messages. "Captain, we're receiving responses," Amy said with excitement in her voice. "A Zentari merchant convoy is changing course to help us. 3 independent trader ships are heading our way. Even a Corvin patrol vessel is asking for our position." "How long until they arrive?" Jake asked. 2 hours at the earliest," Amy replied. "The pirates will reach the colony in 20 minutes, Jake nodded grimly. "Then we hold them off alone until help arrives. All fighters, launch immediately. Target the lead ships and try to break up their formation." In the fighter bay, Tom Bradley climbed into his small ship and started the engines. Around him, 11 other pilots were doing the same. They all knew. They were flying into certain death, but none of them hesitated. "All fighters ready, Captain," Tom reported over the radio. "We'll buy you as much time as we can." The fighter ships launched from the horizon like angry wasps, racing toward the massive pirate fleet. The pirates saw them coming and laughed over their communications. 12 tiny fighters against our entire fleet?" The pirate leader mocked. "These humans really are as stupid as everyone says." But Tom and his pilots had trained for this moment. They didn't attack the pirates head-on like traditional fighters would. Instead, they spread out and began hit-and-run attacks, striking fast and disappearing before the pirates could respond. "This is Fighter 7, called pilot Susan Park over the radio. I'm targeting their communications array. If we can blind them, they can't coordinate their attack. The human fighters moved like lightning around the slower pirate ships. They hit engines, weapons, and sensor arrays before vanishing into space. The pirates began to get frustrated and angry. Stand still and fight like warriors. The pirate leader shouted. We don't fight like warriors, Tom replied over the radio. We fight like humans. While the fighters kept the pirates busy, the Horizon moved closer to the colony. Jake had a plan, but it was the most dangerous thing he had ever attempted. Lisa, can you overload our main reactor? Jake asked. Lisa Carter looked up from her engineering station with shock. Captain, if I overload the reactor, it could destroy the entire ship. That's what I'm counting on, Jake said. But can you set it on a timer? Give us enough time to evacuate? Lisa's hands moved over her controls as she ran calculations. I could set it for a controlled overload. It would create an explosion equivalent to 50 antimatter bombs. But Captain, we'd have to get very close to the pirate fleet for it to be effective. Steve realized what Jake was planning. You want to use our ship as a giant missile, if it comes to that, Jake said. But not yet, Ryan. Target the largest pirate ship. Let's see how much damage we can do the old-fashioned way. The Horizon. Open fire with all weapons. Blue energy beams lanced out across space, striking the lead pirate ship's shields. The pirates returned fire immediately, and the space around Haven's Rest became filled with deadly energy. Shields at 60%, Lisa reported as the ship shook from enemy fire. Captain, Amy called out, the first reinforcements are arriving. The main screen, Jake saw the most beautiful sight of his life. 3 Centauri merchant ships dropped out of light speed, followed by 2 independent traders and a small Corvan patrol vessel. They were still outnumbered, but now they had hope. All ships, this is Captain Morrison, Jake said over the radio. Form up on my position. We're going to show these pirates what happens when free people stand together. The battle that followed would be remembered across the galaxy for generations. The small fleet of mixed ships fought with courage and determination against the larger pirate force. Dr. Rachel Green worked frantically in the medical bay, treating wounded crew members, and even injured pirates who had been rescued from damaged ships. Captain, called the Centauri merchant captain over the radio, our ships are not built for combat. We cannot last much longer. Jake looked at the tactical display. 3 of the Allied ships were badly damaged, and the pirates were still too strong. It was time for the desperate plan. All ships, pull back to minimum safe distance, Jake ordered. Lisa, begin the reactor overload sequence. Overload sequence initiated, Lisa replied. 30 minutes until critical explosion. The Horizon began moving toward the center of the pirate fleet. The pirates saw the human ship approaching and concentrated their fire on it. The ship's shields failed, and explosions began tearing through the hull. All crew to escape pods, Jake ordered. Abandon ship immediately. Captain, what about you? Steve asked. Someone has to make sure the ship reaches the target, Jake replied. Get our people to safety, but the crew refused to leave. We started this mission together, Ryan said. We'll finish it together. As the Horizon continued its death run toward the pirate fleet, more ships arrived to help. Word of the battle had spread across the galaxy, and species that had never worked together before were coming to fight side by side. Captain, Amy reported with tears in her eyes, we're receiving a message from the Confederation fleet. High Counselor Zethkri is ordering all ships to withdraw immediately. Tell the High Counselor that humanity doesn't take orders from people who abandon innocent lives, Jake replied. The final minutes of the battle were the most intense of Jake's life. The Horizon, badly damaged and barely functioning, continued toward the pirate fleet. The reactor was building to critical overload, and there was no turning back. Then at the last moment, the pirates broke. Faced with a ship that was willing to destroy itself to stop them, and seeing more Allied ships arriving every minute, they decided the battle wasn't worth their lives. We surrender. The pirate leader called out, Don't destroy your ship, we surrender. Jake smiled and ordered Lisa to shut down the reactor overload. The USS Horizon drifted to a stop, damaged but victorious. Around them, the pirate ships were surrendering one by one. "Amy, get me a line to Administrator Kim," Jake said. The colony administrator's voice was filled with tears of joy. "Captain Morrison, we're safe. All our people are safe." "How can we ever thank you? Just live good lives," Jake replied. "Raise your children in peace, that's thanks enough." As rescue ships began arriving to help the damaged vessels, Jake looked around at his crew. They had done something amazing. They had shown the galaxy that some things were worth fighting for. No matter the odds, the USS Horizon limped back to Earth a month later, escorted by ships from dozens of different species.